Thank you for joining me today for our crochet. I'm Lupe, and today we're going to be making the daisy poncho wrap. All right, so let's get started. The materials that we're going to need is going to be some yarn. So the yarn that I choose to use for this poncho wrap is the Pound of Love by Lion Brand, and the color is Oxford Gray. It's a size 4 medium weight yarn. And the size hook that we're going to be using today is going to be a 5.5 millimeter hook. And also some scissors to cut off our ends when we're finished. And the size that we are going to be doing is going to be a large. And for the large, we need to chain 145 chains plus 2. All right, I'm going to do this on a smaller scale just to show how I just turn my work around. So once you have your 145 chains plus 2, go ahead and do the plus 2. We're going to turn our work, and then we're going to double crochet all the way down the line. Okay, and we can make these for many sizes. You can make them for small, medium, large, extra large as 2XL as well. The chain count that you would need for a size small is 125 plus 2. For the medium, you would need 135 plus 2. For the large, again, it's going to be 145 plus 2. For the extra large, 155 chains plus 2. And for the 2XL, it would be 165 plus 2. All right, and so we're going to go ahead and just double crochet all the way around. This is a 1 row repeat for the body of the poncho wrap. All right, and then once you get to the end of your long chain, we're going to go ahead and just chain 1, turn your work, and then go ahead and double crochet right back into that first stitch, and just go all the way down. Now I usually go up to 20 rows, and I say usually because sometimes I need to do 21 rows, sometimes I need to do just up to the 20, and sometimes it could be 22 rows. So I always go to 20 rows, and then we'll put that aside and start making our granny squares for this poncho. Okay, so again, we need to do about 20 rows all the way up, 1 long rectangle of double crochets. All right, and so when you're done doing the 20 rows, we'll meet back up, and then we'll continue on with the poncho wrap. All right, so now that we have our 20 rows finished, we're going to go ahead and put our work aside. I just want to give you a quick look at how your work should be looking. It should just be 1 long rectangle of about 20 rows. Okay, and then when you fold it, you're just going to lay it down, pull one side towards the middle, and the other one, just line it up as such. Okay, and this is how it'll look at the moment. We're just missing our granny squares, so we're going to make our 4 granny squares. I'm going to go ahead and make some daisy granny squares. Okay, so the corner would be here, you just can't see it. My space is a little bit limited. Okay, and so that's how we'll line it up. So let's go ahead and get started on our 4 granny squares. All right, so now let's go ahead and start doing those granny squares. So what I'm going to do is chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch into the first stitch to make a circle. I'm going to go ahead and chain 2, 1, 2, and I'm going to go ahead and make 11 half double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Okay, let's go ahead and count to make sure that we have 11 double crochets, and then also that chain of 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and slip stitch on the first chain of the chain 2, on top of the chain 2. All right, this is what our work should look like. We're going to go ahead and slip stitch in between the chain 2 and the first half double crochet. We're going to go ahead and chain 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to yarn over, pull in between the half double crochet and the double crochet, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, pull, yarn over and pull 3 times. And now we're going to go ahead and yarn over and pull through all the hoops, chain, and now we're going to do another chain, and then we're going to go ahead and do a puff stitch in between the next set of half double crochets. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're going to do this all the way around until we have 12 puff stitches. Okay, and for the daisy squares, or for the granny squares for this poncho, you could make any kind of granny square that you like. It doesn't have to necessarily be this daisy granny square. You can also make different colors. Okay, got a little knot here in my yarn. Sorry about that, you're watching me take out this knot of yarn here. Okay, and let's go ahead and continue working until we have our 12 puff stitches. Okay, now I have my 12 puff stitches, so what I'm going to do is go ahead and slip stitch on top of the first puff stitch. Okay. All right, and this is what our work should look like at the moment. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and slip stitch in between the 2 puff stitches. So slip stitch, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and now we're going to do a 2 more double crochets, but we're not going to close them until we have the other 2 double crochets. So what I mean is we're going to go ahead and start our first double crochet, yarn over, pull under, and then go ahead and pull through 2 of the loops and hold on to that. Let's not close it off. And then pull over, yarn over, and then pull through the 2 here. So we should have 3 loops here, and then we're going to go ahead and close, and then we're going to stitch, and then we're going to go ahead and chain 2, 1, 2, and we're going to now do a double crochet, but without closing it all the way. So okay, double crochet without closing all the way. Those 2 loops. We're going to do it again. So we're going to combine these 3 double crochets. Okay, now we should have 4 loops on our hook. And go ahead and yarn over and pull through all those hoops. And this is what it should look like. And then we're going to go ahead and chain 1. And then we're going to go ahead and single crochet in this little space between the next 2 puff stitches. Okay, chain 1, single crochet in between the next set of puff stitches, chain 1, and now we're going to go ahead and repeat what we did on this corner. So we're going to go ahead and do half double crochet without closing it all the way. We're going to combine the 3 double crochets. Okay, pull through all those, and then chain 2. Do another set of 3 double crochets without closing it to the last one. Okay, chain 1, single crochet in between the next set of puff stitches, chain 1, single crochet in between, chain 1. We're going to repeat the corner. And those 3 double crochets connecting after we do the last double crochet. Chain 2. All right. Okay, chain 1. Single crochet, chain 1. Single crochet, chain 1. One, 2. Okay. Let's do our sets of double crochet here. Close it off. Okay, and this is what our work should be looking like. Okay, let's go ahead and continue on. Okay, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1, and now we're going to go ahead, when we're finished with our square, we're going to go ahead and slip stitch on the top of the first set of double crochets, and this is what our work should be looking like. Okay, let's go ahead and slip stitch. Okay, and cut this off, and now we're going to go ahead and do our second granny square. So here's one. So when we are doing the second granny square, we're going to do everything the same that we did on this. So we're going to do our chain 4, slip stitch, make a circle, and then we're going to chain up 2 and then 11 half double crochets. Then we're going to do the 12 puff stitches, and then we're going to go ahead and then slip stitch in between the 2 spaces, and then make a chain of 3, and then a double crochet and connect them, chain 2, and then 3 double crochets connected, and then chain 1, single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, and then all the way around. Now with your second square, you're going to do everything that we did in the first one, except for when we get to, we're going to just only do half of this. So let's go ahead and do our puff stitches, and then we're going to go ahead and do 1 corner, 2 corners, and then after that, before we get to the 3rd corner, we're going to meet back up so I can show you how we connect the granny squares. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. All right, so now that we have half of this granny square, or more than half of this granny square finished, we're going to go ahead and start the 3rd corner. So let's go ahead and do the 3 double crochets that we connect at the top. Okay, we have those 4 hoops. We're going to go ahead and close these together. We're going to chain 1. Now this is where we go ahead and start attaching our first granny square. We're going to go ahead and in the corner of the previous granny square, we're going to go ahead and connect. So we're going to insert our hoop in between, grab our yarn, and it's going to look like a single crochet, but it's like a chain. And now we're going to go ahead and continue on doing our 3 connected double crochets. Okay, so this is what it looks like at the moment. Just connected 1 corner. Okay, let's go ahead and close off those 3 double crochets. Now we're going to chain 1. Now in between the 3 connected, the set of double crochets and the single crochet, we're going to go ahead and single crochet there, chain 1. Now we're going to grab our new granny square, and we're going to go ahead and slip stitch in between the 2 puff stitches. And then we're going to chain 1. And now we're going to go back to our first granny square, and in between the 2 single crochets in that chain 1 space, we are going to do a single crochet, and then we're going to chain 1. We're going to go back to our new granny square, and do a single crochet and chain 1. And we're going to go back to our new one, and in that chain 1 space in between the single crochet and the cluster of 3 double crochets, we're going to go ahead and single crochet there, and then we're going to chain 1. And now we're going to make another cluster of the 3 double crochets that we connect on the top. All right, and now we're going to go ahead, chain 1, go into our corner of the first granny square. Okay, single crochet, and now we're going to go ahead and continue on finishing up our cluster of 3 double crochets in that corner of our new granny square. All right, and now we're going to chain 1, and now we're just going to continue on making our single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, and now chain 1. And now we're going to just go ahead and slip stitch on the first set of the cluster of 3 double crochets, and this is what our work should look like now. And so we have to do this 2 more times. So we should have a total of 4 granny squares lined up. Okay, so once we have those 4 granny squares lined up, I will show you how we connect them. All right, so let's continue working till we have those 4 granny squares finished. All right, so now we have our 4 granny squares finished, and now we're going to put this aside. They're already attached. We're going to put these aside, and we're going to go back to the body of the poncho. Now I didn't tie off because I wanted to make sure that my poncho wrap is going to be the right size to match up with my granny squares. So I just go ahead, lay it down straight across, take one side, fold over, and the other one I fold over, and I leave a little bit of a space here. And I'm gonna go ahead and grab my granny squares. I'm gonna line it up to see if it's gonna match. Let's see. Okay, and now that I see that it's matching up, it's lining up, I can stretch one side a little bit, gives a little bit of stretch here. All right, and then it's lining up here. Now, if yours is too short, like for example, if you feel that you can add another row, by all means, go ahead and add another row so that it lines up more evenly. But if it's just a little bit off, you could just pretty much stretch it. Okay. So now what I like to do is I like to get some little clips just to clip it together. And I use little hair clips, nothing too fancy, just something just to keep it together. So I'll go ahead and do the bottom, the top, the one in the middle, okay, and then I'll do the other side as well. Just to give it a good, so I kind of have an idea how to sew it so I'm not sewing unevenly. All right, so this is how my work looks at the moment. And so this, the way it is now, the way I attached everything now is the right side up. So this is what it will ultimately look like when it's all sewn together. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is turn it inside out, or just flip it around inside out, and this is where I start sewing. Okay, now that I know that I have the right size, let me go ahead and cut off, because I'm not going to add any more rows to the main body. I still had it attached here. All right, give it a good pull. Okay. All right, so now we are going to sew our granny squares together. Now you can go ahead and use your crochet hook and crochet it all up if you like, but I like to use a yarn needle. So I'm just going to use the yarn needle. I'm going to go ahead and measure some yarn. It's a little bit more than the length of the granny square. A little extra. Okay. Go ahead and thread my needle here. Okay, now I have all these loose ends. I will go ahead and tie my loose ends later. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and detach the first little clip that I had. I'm going to go ahead and line up my work. Okay, and then I'm going to start at the corner of the granny square and the corner of the body of my poncho. Sorry, let me go ahead and get in this corner here. Okay. All right, and go ahead, pull through, and I'm just going to go ahead and stitch all the way to the top here. And I'm just going to go ahead and try to get the inside loops. And I just find that it just looks a little bit cleaner when I do it with a yarn needle, because I don't like the bulky stitch that it leaves. So yeah, just do this all the way through. Try to take the inside loops. And just go down like that. It shouldn't take very long to do, but sometimes it could get a little hard to see where the loops are. All right, so we just do this all the way down. On occasion you may get an extra loop in there, it's fine. And just making sure that it's still lining up here. Let me go ahead and detach my little clips that I had on the other side and put on this side here. All right. And again, you can always go ahead and crochet up like a single stitch all the way up the sides of the 4 granny squares to the body. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and continue sewing this up. When I get to this side over here, I will get back to you and then we'll start working on the other side. All right, so let's continue working here. All right, so I am approaching the end of this row here of attaching the granny squares to the body. And I'm going to go ahead and detach my clip and finish attaching. now I'm just going to give it a little pull. Not that I reached it. Okay, give it a little look to see that it doesn't look too lumpy and it all looks pretty much evened out. I'm just going to go ahead and tie the corner to the body of the poncho. Okay, give it a little pull. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and tie off. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get my clips and turn them around. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. Just to keep it lined up. And all right, I have another one here in the middle. I used to use really nice fancy little clips thingies, and then I would lose them all. And then I started using these because, well, I have daughters and I always have hair clips, so I started using those, and I always seem to have them around, so this seemed easy enough to keep just using those. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and pull my string so that I have enough and a little extra just in case. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and yarn my needle here. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing. I'm gonna go ahead and start on the bottom of my work here. Okay, move it over and let's see. Let's go ahead and get this started here. And I'm just gonna go all the way up to this part up here. Then after that, we'll work on the border and the neckline, and then we should be all finished with this boho poncho wrap. It's a fairly simple project. Let's see, make a little knot down here. I have all my loose ends getting in the way, which is fine because we'll hide them when we do our border. And the ones that we can't hide, we'll just go ahead and hide them in the work when we're done. Okay. All right, so there we go. We'll just go ahead and do the same thing. All right, and so once we get this done, we'll be done with the attaching of the granny squares. And we're moving forward. So we're almost done here. We're more than halfway done, so that's good. That's good. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and keep on working. When I get close to the end, I'll come back on and we'll finish off attaching this, and then we'll move forward to the next step. All right, now let's go ahead and finish this off. So once we finish doing this, the next thing we're gonna do is turn it inside out again, or right side up. So this is the inside, and then we're gonna go ahead and flip it back over, or I mean turn it inside out, or right side up, and start working on it as the way it's going to be. Okay, go ahead and give it a good tie up here. All right. All right, so this is what our work should look like. Okay, now we're just gonna go ahead and flip it, or turn it inside out. Here we go, or right side up. Sorry, I got my words all twisted. Okay, so now we do have all of these little strings here. We will fix those later. All right, so this is what our work should look like. All right, so now you get a good look at how it looks. So in the front, and the point will go down here. Okay, and then if you turn it around, this is what it looks like from the back. All right. Okay, so let's get the forward part going. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and start doing the border. All right, so let's go back and get our yarn. All right, and I usually start here on the border. This makes it a little bit easier at the granny square on this side right here. So the corner's down here for the point of the poncho, and then I just go to the granny square on the bottom and the corner of the granny square, and that's where I'm going to go ahead and start. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my yarn. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pull through, go put my yarn hook in the little space in between the two sets of double crochets, and I'm also going to grab all the extra yarn. So I'm going to hide that now. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pull my yarn through, chain one, and I'm going to go ahead and chain another, so chain two total, and then I'm going to go ahead and do a half double crochet in that same space. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and do a half double crochet all the way around. All right, so let's go ahead. So I have my 2 double crochets in that space. Okay, and then in the other corner, I'm going to do 2 half double crochets in that one as well, and then a half double crochet all the way around. All right, make sure I got the right yarn. I'm going to pull these these extra yarns that I have and hide them under. And I'm just going to go ahead and half double crochet in every space that I have here. All right, trying to grab all these yarns, but some of them I like to try to pull away. Okay, then 2, because I'm out here at the corner. Okay, and then continue on. All right, and so from here on is just that half double crochet all the way around. Now if you want to do a double crochet, you can as well, but usually I just do the half double crochet just to clean it up. And then when I get close to this corner right here, I will come back on and show you how I do the corner, okay? So I'll come back until we get to when we are pushing the corner of the poncho. So for now, we'll just go ahead and do the the half double crochet all the way around. All right, so now that we are approaching the corner of the poncho, I'm gonna go ahead and continue on here. And when we reach the corner, we're just going to do 3 half double crochets in that corner. So that last little opening here, I'm gonna go ahead and just do 3 half double crochets. Okay, and now we're gonna go ahead and do the last little bit here until we get to the beginning of the stitch that we started at the granny square. All right, and now on here it gets a little tricky because you just want to go down and put a stitch where you can. So usually I just go one here, and then one, like, not, like just wherever you see a definite hole. And just keep looking at it so it doesn't look too bunched up like this. Just want to make sure that it's the same tension, that you don't have too many stitches. All right, so we're moving along here. I'm just taking a quick little look every now and then to make sure that it looks nice. Okay. And then after we do this round here, we're just going to go ahead and do one more round of the slip stitch, and that will be it for the bottom, and then we'll work on our neckline. And after that, we just get rid of all our loose ends, put on the mannequin, and we'll be all finished. Let's see. Okay. You want to make sure I don't have too many stitches. All right. I don't want to have too many stitches, but I don't want to have less stitches either, because then they won't be straight. They'll be like a little diagonal. Oh, lost my stitch. Okay. Now all right, so we are approaching quickly here. Okay, now this right here, it's kind of a tight little space that you will have, but if you just go from here to here, it'll have like a little space. You don't want that, so you want to go ahead and try push it through. There you go. And then slip stitch on the top of the first half double crochet, or the first stitches. Okay, and now we're just going to go ahead, now that we have that done, so you can see how it looks here. Now we're just going to go ahead and do a slip stitch all the way around, just like this, just to give it a nice clean look. Okay, just following the stitch before that. Okay, and this is the last of the rows here. All right, so when we're almost done doing this slip stitch all the way around, I will get back on. We'll fasten off here, and then we'll move to the neckline. Okay. All right, so we are approaching the ending of the slip stitches. All right, and now all we're going to do when we approach that first stitch is going to go ahead and slip stitch to the front of it. Let's see, it's always so hard to see this one. Okay, we'll slip stitch it, gonna pull it through, and then slip stitch here. Okay, all right, let's fasten off here. Okay, now we can take a quick little look at our work. The edging here is the corner. Just went ahead and slip stitch there all the way down, all the way down. So now we have a clean border all the way around. All right, so let's go ahead and get to our work on the neckline because it is kind of big here. So what we're going to do now is we are going to start at, we're going to go ahead and give it a start right here at this granny square. In the chain 2 space right here, we're going to go ahead and insert our hook, get our yarn. And on this, what we're going to do is pull through, yarn over, pull through, and chain up 1. Okay, and then we're going to grab all our loose ends here that we have. I have several here. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and do a single crochet in that same space. All right, and then 1 more single crochet. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and then move to this little space right here and do a single crochet. We put these little strings here so you can see single crochet in this one right here. All right, and now I'm going to go ahead and single crochet on top of each of these double crochets, and then when I get to the 10th one, we are going to reduce a stitch. Okay, so let's go ahead. And so now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and do a decrease. So we're going to go ahead and insert our hook, grab some yarn, insert our hook in the next space, our next stitch, grab some yarn, and now we're going to pull through all 3 of those loops to do the decrease. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and do that again. So we're going to go ahead and single crochet 10 stitches and then do a decrease. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, now we're going to do our decrease. Okay, insert the hook through the loop, yarn over, insert our hook through the loop and yarn over, and then pull through all 3 loops and go ahead and decrease. And now we're going to go ahead and repeat this all the way around until we get to this side over here. Once we get close to the granny square on the other end, I will come back on so I can show you how we go ahead and single crochet on top of that. Okay, so let me go ahead, continue working here, and we'll meet back up here shortly. All right, so now I am approaching the granny square. Let's go ahead and finish off here, continuing with our single crochets. Now after we're done doing this row, you could go ahead and try it on to see if you like the neckline. And if you do, great. You could just finish it off by doing a slip stitch all the way around to clean it up. And if you feel that you need to make the neckline a little bit smaller for a better fit, you could go ahead and continue on with me. All right, so we are here at the granny square. So now that we're at the corner of the granny square, we're gonna go ahead and single crochet 2 times in there. All right, and then on top of the granny square, we're gonna go ahead and do that. In that little hole there, we're gonna do a single crochet. Okay, in the space, we're gonna go ahead and do a single crochet and another one. All right, and then in that single single crochet from before, you're going to go ahead and do 1 single crochet in there, single crochet in the next one, and the next one, and then right here we're going to do 2 single crochets, and then we're going to go ahead and slip stitch on top of the first one. Okay, I like to pull the string so that I know where to cut them when I'm cleaning up my work. All right, so now if you feel that your neckline is still too big, let's continue on. We're going to go ahead and chain 1 and single crochet in that same stitch, except for the only difference in this round is we're going to go ahead and single crochet 5 times and then do the decrease. Okay, so we have 1 there, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now we're going to go ahead and do the decrease, and then we're going to do this all the way around. So now decrease, and then now we're going to go ahead and do 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the decrease. Okay, and then keep going. Let me pull this so I could clean this up later as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and decrease. Okay, let's continue working, and when we get back to the other end, we'll go ahead and continue working on the next round. All right, so now I am approaching the end of this round with the single crochets, and now I'm going to go ahead and take a quick look at my work here. Okay, slip stitching here, and now again, we could take a quick look at our work and see if the neckline is to your liking. And I have these loose ends, I just pull them out so that I could clean everything up all at the same time. Okay, so I think the neckline is good here, but if you need it to be a smaller neckline, go ahead and do another round with a decrease. I would go again another round of 5 single crochets and a decrease. All right, but if you're going to go ahead and follow along with me, I'm going to go ahead and just clean this up now, and by doing what I'm going to do now is just do a slip stitch through every stitch to give it a nice finish here, just like we did at the border, just that simple slip stitch round. And then we should be almost finished here. Give it a nice clean neckline look, and it will match the bottom of the poncho as well. All right. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and continue working here, and when I get to the closer to where we began, I'll go ahead and come back on and go from there. All right, so let's continue crocheting here. Almost done, almost done. All right, so we are approaching the end of this round. Just doing the last couple of the slip stitches. And it looks like I kind of timed it kind of right because I ran out of yarn here. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and tie off. All right. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our neckline. All right, it looks pretty nice to me. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and do the next step, which is going to be to hide all our loose ends here. So let me go ahead, and what I like to do is find my loose ends. Go ahead and stick my needle into where I want to insert it. Okay, that's kind of a tight stitch there. So usually I insert my hook, my needle where I want it to go, then put my yarn in, and just pull through. Get a little tug there. And then just cut off. All right, so there's that one. I know I seen one right here as well. I'm just going to go ahead and hide this yarn in here. And anywhere that you have any loose ends or yarn, you want to go ahead and hide that. Sometimes it's a little tight here. This is a tough one. All right. Go ahead and give that a cut there. Okay. I'm going to turn it around. Turn it inside out now. And in here we're going to have a lot of loose ends. And we'll just go down the line of trying to hide them all. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and continue doing that. And then once I'm done doing that, I'm going to go ahead and, for the finale, put it on the mannequin and give it a nice little look through to make sure that everything looks good. But for the most part, we are pretty much finished here. Okay. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and continue working getting these all hidden here in a moment. So let's go ahead and take a quick little look at our work. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's see. All right, so there's the work. I'm going to go ahead and finish tying up the loose ends, and then I'm going to go put it on the mannequin. And that's it. Your poncho wrap is complete. Hope you enjoyed the tutorial and found it helpful. Thanks for watching and happy crocheting.